Deadly typhoon slams into the Philippines, Vietnam. A powerful typhoon slammed into central Vietnam on Tuesday, killing at least 32 people and flooding towns and villages along the country's long coastline after leaving a trail of death and destruction in the Philippines. Typhoon-Ketsana, which struck Manila and surrounding provinces over the weekend, gathered strength across the South China Sea, made landfall in central Vietnam, where at least 170,000 people were evacuated from its path. It was weakening as it headed west into Laos. The death toll in the Philippines from the storm rose to 246 and still climbing, while the economic cost was nearly $100 million and still rising, officials have said. Philippine authorities braced for another storm that could hit later this week. Vietnam's state-run television said the typhoon was the worst the country had experienced in more than 3 decades. Many areas of central Vietnam were flooded, including parts of the port city of Da Nang. Many homes were damaged and telephone lines were down. At least 32 people were killed in 7 coastal and central highland provinces. New storms. 2 new storms were brewing in the Pacific and threatened to complicate relief efforts in the Philippines. The homes of nearly 1.9 million people in Manila and surrounding areas were flooded in the weekend flooding. The National Disaster Coordinating Council has said nearly 380,000 people have sought shelter in schools, churches, and other evacuation centers. The council said at least 246 were confirmed dead, with 38 missing. Authorities ordered extra police to be deployed to prevent looting in communities abandoned by fleeing residents, as frustration rose among those who have lost their homes or belongings. Lines of victims grew longer at hundreds of aid distribution centers as floodwaters subsided further and more people went in search of food, clean water, dry clothes, and shelter, and appeal for aid. The Philippine President Arroyo's administration, sensitive to criticism, it did not give sufficient warning of the deluge or was too slow to respond, conceded it was overwhelmed, but said it was doing all it could to help. Officials have appealed for international aid, warning they may not have enough resources to withstand 2 new storms forecasters have spotted east of the island nation in the Pacific Ocean. One could hit the northern Philippines later this week, and the other early next week, although meteorologists say that could change. Ketsana dumped more than a month's worth of rain in just 12 hours, causing the country's worst flooding in at least 40 years, if not ever, according to recorded history. Philippine authorities rescued more than 12,000 people, but unconfirmed reports of more deaths abound, the defense secretary has said. Water that reached shoulder depth in parts of the capital streets on Saturday had subsided in many areas. People trudged through ankle-deep sludge or mud to reach shelters where volunteers handed out bottles of water and other items. Elsewhere, a massive cleanup was underway. People used shovels and brooms to begin mopping up. Many people complained that the aid was coming way too slowly and was not enough. President Arroyo said those who suffered had a right to complain, but appealed to them to understand that the scale of the disaster was so huge. We're responding to the extent we can to this once-in-a-lifetime typhoon emergency, she said in a statement released on Tuesday. Conditions in many hard-hit areas remained squalid. The storm left entire communities covered in mud, cars upended on city streets, and power lines cut. Massive damage. State of calamity. The government declared a state of calamity in metropolitan Manila and 25 storm-hit provinces, allowing officials to use emergency funds for relief and rescue. The president said that she would issue an executive order within the week declaring a national holiday as Cleanup Day, the palace said. The United States has donated $100,000 and deployed a military helicopter and 5 rubber boats manned by about 20 American soldiers from the country's south, where they have been providing counter-terrorism training. The United Nations Children's Fund and the World Food Program have also provided food and other aid. This was a very severe typhoon, and perhaps with more on the way. Very strong storms. And the weather is changing. Climate change is real. It's ongoing. It's already happening all around the world. Extreme, severe weather events are becoming more commonplace. And, once again, these are more signs of the end times. Transition days. There is a transition going on. Huge changes are on the way. And these are more signs.